It's okay not to be perfect. We live in a world that celebrates perfection. We see perfect photos on social media. We hear about perfect test scores. We watch people who seem to do everything right, who never make mistakes, who always have it together. And somewhere along the way, many of us started believing that we should be perfect too, that anything less than perfect isn't good enough. But here's something I want you to know, something that might change how you see yourself and your journey. It's okay not to be perfect. In fact, it's more than okay. It's human. It's normal. It's actually necessary. Today, I want to talk about why perfection is not only impossible, but why chasing it might be holding you back from the life you really want to live. Let me start by asking you a question. When was the last time you hesitated to do something because you were afraid you wouldn't do it perfectly? Maybe you didn't speak up in a meeting because you weren't sure your English was perfect. Maybe you didn't share something you created because it wasn't quite finished or polished enough. Maybe you didn't try something new because you knew you'd be bad at it at first. These moments happen to all of us. And in each of these moments, perfectionism isn't protecting us. It's limiting us. It's keeping us small and quiet and stuck. Perfectionism often disguises itself as something positive. It looks like high standards. It looks like caring about quality. It looks like wanting to do your best. And those things are good. But perfectionism goes further than that. Perfectionism says that anything less than perfect is a failure. It says that mistakes are unacceptable. It says that your worth as a person is tied to your performance. And that's where it becomes dangerous. Because when you believe those things, you stop taking risks. You stop trying new things. You become so afraid of failing that you don't even start. I want to tell you about someone I knew many years ago. Her name was Jennifer. Jennifer was one of the smartest people I'd ever met. She was talented, creative, and capable of doing amazing things. But she struggled with something that held her back from all of that potential. She struggled with perfectionism. Jennifer wanted everything she did to be absolutely perfect before she would show it to anyone or move forward with it. She would spend weeks working on projects, revising them over and over, never feeling like they were quite good enough to share. I remember one time, Jennifer was working on an article she wanted to submit to a magazine. She'd been working on it for 3 months. Every time I asked her how it was going, she would say, "Almost done. I just need to fix a few more things." But those few things kept multiplying. She would rewrite sentences. She would question her word choices. She would worry that her ideas weren't original enough or clear enough or interesting enough, and the deadline came and went. She never submitted the article. Not because it wasn't good, it was excellent, but because in her mind it wasn't perfect yet. This pattern repeated itself in many areas of Jennifer's life. She had ideas for projects she wanted to start, but she never started them because she couldn't plan them perfectly first. She wanted to learn new skills, but she wouldn't take classes because she was embarrassed to be a beginner. She had stories to tell and art to make and contributions to offer, but she kept them all inside, waiting for the day when she could do them perfectly. And that day never came. Because Perfection doesn't exist. One day, Jennifer and I had a conversation that I think changed her perspective. She was telling me about another project she'd abandoned because it wasn't turning out the way she'd imagined. And I asked her, "What's the worst thing that would happen if you shared something that wasn't perfect?" She thought about it. "People might judge me," she said. "They might think I'm not talented or smart." I nodded. "Maybe," I said. "But what if they don't? What if they see the value in what you created, even if it has flaws? What if your imperfect work helps someone, or inspires someone, or teaches someone something? And even if some people do judge you, so what? Their judgment doesn't define your worth. You do." That conversation didn't instantly cure Jennifer's perfectionism. These patterns run deep, and they take time to change. But it planted a seed. It made her start questioning the beliefs she'd held for so long. And slowly, she started experimenting with imperfection. She started sharing her work before it felt completely ready. She started trying new things even though she was a beginner. She started accepting that mistakes and flaws were part of the creative process, not signs of failure. And you know what happened? Her life got so much better. She was happier. She was more productive. She created more and stressed less. She connected with people more authentically because she stopped pretending to be flawless. She finally gave herself permission to be human. Here's the truth about perfection. It's an illusion. Look closely at anything that seems perfect from the outside, and you'll find imperfections. That beautiful photo on social media? It was probably one of 50 photos carefully selected and edited. That person who seems to have their life completely together? They have struggles and doubts, just like everyone else, they just don't post about them. That book or movie or piece of art that seems flawless, the creator probably agonized over every detail and still sees things they wish they'd done differently. Perfection is not a real standard. It's an impossible standard. And measuring yourself against an impossible standard guarantees that you'll always feel like you're not enough. But here's what's real: excellence. Excellence is different from perfection. Excellence means doing something well, giving it your best effort, and being proud of the result, even if it's not flawless. Excellence leaves room for being human. It acknowledges that mistakes will happen, and that's okay. Excellence is achievable. Perfection is not. When you aim for excellence instead of perfection, you free yourself. You can try things, fail at them, learn from them, and try again. You can create imperfect work that still has value. You can be imperfect and still be worthy of love and respect. Think about the people you admire most. Are they perfect? Probably not. In fact, often what makes people inspiring is their imperfections and how they handle them. We admire people who try things and fail and get back up. We admire people who are honest about their struggles. We admire people who keep going even when things are hard. We don't actually admire perfection, because perfection is cold and distant and unrelatable. We admire humanity. We admire courage. We admire growth. And all of those things require imperfection. Let me give you another example, this time from my own life. When I first started teaching, I wanted to be the perfect teacher. I would plan my lessons obsessively, trying to anticipate every question, every problem, every possible thing that could go wrong. I would rehearse what I would say. I would stress about whether my explanations were clear enough, engaging enough, helpful enough. And despite all that preparation, things would still go wrong. A student would ask a question I didn't know how to answer. An activity I'd planned wouldn't work the way I expected. I would make mistakes in my explanations or lose track of time. And every time something went wrong, I would feel like I'd failed. This went on for my entire first year of teaching. I was exhausted from trying to be perfect all the time. And then something interesting happened. I had a class where everything went wrong. I mean, everything. My technology didn't work. I explained a grammar point in a confusing way and had to start over. I completely lost my train of thought in the middle of a sentence. It was a disaster. And at the end of the class, I was sure my students must think I was a terrible teacher. But then one student came up to me and said something surprising. She said, "I really enjoyed today's class. It felt more relaxed than usual, and I liked that you showed us it's okay to make mistakes and just keep going." That comment changed my entire approach to teaching. I realized that my students didn't need me to be perfect. They needed me to be real. They needed me to model what it looks like to handle imperfection with grace. When I made mistakes and recovered from them, I was teaching them something valuable, that mistakes aren't the end of the world. When I admitted I didn't know something and said we'd figure it out together, I was teaching them that it's okay not to have all the answers. My imperfections weren't making me a worse teacher. In some ways, they were making me a better one. So, what does this mean for you? It means you can stop waiting to be perfect before you do the things you want to do. You can speak English even if your grammar isn't perfect. You can start that project even if you don't have it all figured out. You can try new things even if you'll probably be bad at them at first. You can share your ideas even if they're not fully formed. You can be a beginner. You can make mistakes. You can be a work in progress. Because that's what all of us are. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody does everything right. We're all just doing our best, learning as we go, trying to grow and improve, while also being kind to ourselves about our limitations. And here's something else important. When you accept your own imperfections, you become more accepting of other people's imperfections too. You become less judgmental, more compassionate, more understanding. You realize that everyone is struggling with something, everyone is trying, everyone is imperfect. And that realization helps you connect with people more deeply. Because connection doesn't happen through perfection. It happens through vulnerability, through honesty, through showing each other our real selves, flaws and all. I'm not saying you should stop trying to improve, or that you shouldn't care about quality. Growth and improvement are wonderful things. But there's a difference between healthy striving and toxic perfectionism. Healthy striving says, I want to get better at this, and I'm willing to work for it. Toxic perfectionism says, I must be perfect, or I'm worthless. Healthy striving celebrates progress. Toxic perfectionism only sees what's still wrong. Healthy striving is motivating. Toxic perfectionism is paralyzing. So, how do you let go of perfectionism? How do you give yourself permission to be imperfect? It starts with awareness. Notice when perfectionism is speaking in your mind. Notice the thoughts that say, "This isn't good enough," or "I can't do this unless I can do it perfectly," or "People will judge me if this isn't flawless." When you notice those thoughts, question them. Ask yourself, is this really true? What would happen if I did this imperfectly? What am I missing out on by waiting for perfect conditions that will never come? Then, practice deliberately being imperfect. This might sound strange, but it works. Send an email without reading it 10 times. Share something you made, even though it could be better. Speak up, even though you might say something awkward. Each time you do something imperfectly and survive it, you teach your brain that imperfection is not dangerous. You prove to yourself that you can handle it. And gradually, the fear loses its power. Also, remember to talk to yourself kindly when you make mistakes. Instead of harsh criticism, offer yourself the same compassion you'd offer a friend. That didn't go as planned, but it's okay. I'll learn from it. I'm not perfect at this yet, and that's normal. I did my best with what I knew at the time. These gentle words create space for growth. Harsh criticism just creates shame, and shame doesn't motivate improvement. It just makes you want to hide. Think of life as a rough draft, not a final copy. You're allowed to make mistakes, cross things out, start over, try different approaches. You don't have to get it right the first time. You don't have to get it right every time. You're learning, you're growing, you're figuring things out as you go. And that's not just okay. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how everyone does it, even the people who look like they have it all together from the outside. I want to leave you with one final thought. The most beautiful things in life are often imperfect. Think about a handmade piece of pottery with a slight wobble, a garden with wildflowers growing wherever they want, a song where the singer's voice cracks with emotion, a child's drawing with crooked lines and mixed up colors, a worn book with folded pages and notes in the margins. These things are beautiful not in spite of their imperfections, but because of them. The imperfections show that they're real, that they've been lived with, that they were made by human hands and hearts. You are like that too. Your imperfections don't make you less valuable. They make you real, they make you human, they make you you, and the world doesn't need another perfect person. Perfect is boring. Perfect is fake. Perfect is impossible. What the world needs is you, exactly as you are, imperfections and all. Your unique voice, your unique perspective, your unique way of being in the world. Don't rob the world of that by staying hidden until you're perfect, because you'll be waiting forever and will miss out on knowing you. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to be messy and uncertain and still figuring things out. It's okay to make mistakes and have bad days and not know all the answers. It's okay to be exactly where you are right now, even if it's not where you thought you'd be. You're allowed to be a human being, not a perfect machine. And when you finally accept that, When you finally give yourself permission to be imperfect, something magical happens. You start living, really living, not the careful, controlled, afraid to fail version of life, but the full, messy, beautiful, imperfect version, the real version. And that's the only version worth living. So go ahead. Be imperfect. Make mistakes. Try things you're not good at. Share work that's not quite finished. Say things that come out wrong. Be awkward. Be a beginner. Be human. It's not only okay, it's wonderful. It's exactly what you're supposed to be.